Hello and welcome back to Small Screen Stories. Happy Monday, if that's a thing. This is the daily show where I go over the news in the world of entertainment and pop culture. My name is Edward Lauder. I'm the editor of Small Screen Right Off. If you'd rather listen to this in podcast form, you can. You can go to Small Screen Stories wherever you get your podcasts. If you listen on Apple Podcasts, then it'd be great if you could give us 5 stars. That'd be wonderful. Also, if you could like and subscribe, that would also be really, really helpful. Thank you very much. And let's just get straight into the news. And let's start off with what I thought was quite funny. And that's that Ryan Reynolds is rumoured to star in both the MCU's Doctor Strange and Spider-Man 3, which means he will be starring in Spider-Man 3, or cameoing and appearing in Spider-Man 3, and then in Doctor Strange 2. So this, I say it's funny, is because this comes from, this comes from somebody that is pretty well known for these sorts of scoops. Somebody that has made a pretty good career out of this sort of thing. That's Grace Randolph. So she's over on YouTube, and I'm a big follower of hers, and I do think she gets more stuff right than she does wrong. And it sounds as though she's got some very good sources over there that talk to her quite regularly. So she took to Twitter to say, and here's a scoop. I'm also heading, but she meant hearing, that Deadpool will show up in Spider-Man 3 or Doctor Strange 2, or maybe even both. The whole set. So that's her tweet. She put in a load of hashtags Marvel, hashtag MCU. So I find this amusing because she's kind of really sitting on the fence with this one. The reason I spoke about it and wrote about it is because she is a big player in this industry, and again, as I said, her scoops often end up being more right than wrong. But one of the reasons why that might be is because she often kind of sits on the fence. She has had recent history in getting things not quite as right as she claims she has done, especially with Ryan Reynolds's. She was talking about Ryan Reynolds coming back as Green Lantern in Zack Snyder's Justice League. That's not happening. It was never going to happen. And now again, it's another Ryan Reynolds based one. So, maybe she's hoping that this will actually come to fruition. But as far as Small Screen is concerned, we did post an exclusive article about this back in November 9th, I believe. And we were basically saying a similar thing. As far my sources were telling me that Ryan Reynolds' Deadpool is actually going to be showing up in Doctor Strange 2, and that Doctor Strange 2 will be his debut in the MCU. That I was told by sources that a lot of it has to do with the multiverse and how that will end up opening up the Marvel Cinematic Universe to other characters from previous Marvel movies, possibly 20th Century Fox's Marvel movies. And we're now hearing more and more news about. So we also reported that Tobey Maguire and Andrew Garfield were both going to be in Doctor Strange 2. That was reported by us, and now other people are claiming it as their own exclusive. But honestly, I'm talking about it here because I'm excited about all this stuff. I really don't care that much about who has an exclusive or who claims what to be an exclusive. The thing is that there are similarities and differences between what people are being told, but that here, just in general in this game. But here, the interesting thing is we're all being told the same thing. So I'm honestly pretty sure that this is going to happen. Again, I have spoken about this in the past, but if you were to look at here, you can see clearly Tobey Maguire, Andrew Garfield, Benedict Cumberbatch, Elizabeth Olsen, Ryan Reynolds, Rachel McAdams, Chiwetel Ejiofor, Benedict Wong, Tom Hiddleston, and Tilda Swinton at the end. That is the cast list on Google for Doctor Strange 2. They still haven't taken this down. Again, they probably don't really care that much about that, but it's up there. It's on Google, and I always, when I saw that, I thought that was quite amusing. Basically, Google confirming this was going to happen, and now it seems as though everybody's confirming the same thing. So what do you guys think about this? Is this something that is exciting to you? Are you excited by Deadpool finally coming to the MCU? It looks like, as far as I'm concerned, it's Doctor Strange 2 is where we're going to be seeing him first. But, if he really is in Spider-Man 3, that film will be chock-a-block, just full of characters. And honestly, I don't see a movie really there. It should be too many characters in one movie. But that again is as far as I'm concerned. it sounds to me as though Spider-Man 3 is going to end up becoming almost like their event, like Spider-Man Avengers movie. But I have more news on that coming up in a bit. But let me know what you guys think about that in the comments below. Right, moving on to our exclusive actually of the week, and that's that Dacre Montgomery, the star of Stranger Things and Power Rangers, is in talks to play the Human Torch in the MCU's Fantastic Four film. So we've been talking about Fantastic Four for quite a while now. It was then confirmed that at Disney's Investors Day presentation by Kevin Feige that it was happening, that they'd already confirmed that before, but that John Watts was going to be directing. So that was the big news, that Spider-Man's John Watts is going to be jumping on over to Fantastic Four, putting kind of more emphasis on our scoop that Spider-Man 4 will be directed by Sam Raimi. I'm pretty sure that's going to happen. But now, as far as my sources are concerned, Dacre Montgomery, who's an Australian actor, I think half Australian, half Canadian, most famous for being in Stranger Things, but before that he was also very, very good in Power Rangers. He played the Red Ranger in Power Rangers, Jason Scott. He was the villain in Stranger Things Season 2, and he was brilliant in that. But I'll just put up the quotes that I received from a number of sources. So here's the first one. Marvel Studios is ramping up things with John Watts' Fantastic Four movie. They're looking at a bunch of actors for the role of Johnny Storm, yet Stranger Things' Dacre Montgomery seems to be leading the pack. He's currently in talks with Marvel bosses as we speak for the role. Then a second source came on to say that Dacre Montgomery is in talks for the role of Johnny Storm in the MCU's Fantastic Four picture. He was considered for Wolverine, but Marvel thinks he'd be perfect for Johnny, and John Watts is very keen on casting the actor for the role. So this is something that I think that was it. So I was told by two sources the same information basically, but then the second source kind of offered a bit more information about what's actually going on and who's actually really keen on this. And it looks like John Watts is the one that really thinks he'd be great for the role. There were rumors that he was up for Wolverine, but they were just rumors at the time. But this source seems to be basically, he told me that actually that he was up for or being thought of for the role of Wolverine. He would have made quite a good Wolverine as well. Another Australian actor playing the role seems to be quite interesting. But no, it seems as though they're more keen on getting things going for Fantastic Four. And Dacre Montgomery is kind of the right age. I think he looks the part. If you go back to another scoop of ours that John Krasinski and Emily Blunt are in talks for the roles of Reed Richards and Susan Storm, you can really see Emily Blunt and Dacre Montgomery being brother and sister, really, that they have the right look, and I just can see it working on screen. And it's something that they really need to get right. Fantastic Four is a really vital film for Marvel, I believe, and I think the further down the line we go into these new MCU phases, the more important they'll become. The more important Reed Richards will become, Susan Storm, Johnny Storm, and of course the Thing as well. I haven't heard anything about the Thing. I'm asking around about casting news for that, but I haven't heard anything as of yet. I haven't heard anything from any other outlets either. I haven't read anything reported. But this, again, I will say that this has also been quite popularly casted. If that's a word. People have been fan casting this. The idea of Dacre Montgomery playing the Human Torch. The thing with that is I'm always a bit cautious about that sort of thing. I know it's worked in the past, especially more with Star Wars stuff, but it seems as though, as far as Fantastic Four is concerned, the fans have kind of been spot on. The fans have been saying, look, the people that need to play these roles, it's obvious that John Krasinski should be playing Reed Richards, it's obvious that Emily Blunt should be playing Susan Storm, and it's obvious there have been two kind of really actors that have really been fan casted, if that's the word again, in the role of Johnny Storm, and that's been Zac Efron and Dacre Montgomery. I actually think both would be pretty good for the role, but as far as my sources are concerned, it's Dacre Montgomery. So this is something that, again, I am very, very excited about this movie because I'm a big Fantastic Four fan. I used to love the cartoons growing up. I was really more into like the cartoons growing up, and then I got into there are some great comic book runs of the Fantastic Four, and they've never got it right on screen. Never. We had like the original, well, not the first. There was that awful Fantastic Four film that was basically made, I can't remember what it was, but it was made just so they could keep the rights, and it was awful. It was deliberately bad. Then there were the Fantastic Four films with Jessica Alba, which were really, really bad. Like, I thought they were terrible, those movies. And then we had the Josh Trank Fantastic Four film, or Fanforstic as people like to call it, which is just, again, terrible. I don't think it's as bad as a lot of people say it is. Personally, I thought it was bad, but I actually think the Fantastic Four films before those ones were worse, because they were like very, very kind of late 90s, early 2000s comic book movies, and they were just bad, those movies. Whereas I could kind of see that they're obviously, Josh Trank obviously had some sort of a vision for Fantastic Four, and he really wanted to do it, but I think studio interference in the end, and also he's, he obviously, it's been very well reported that Josh Trank had basically many, many meltdowns on set. I personally don't think he was ready to direct a movie that big, and then I think in the end it was Simon Kinberg that just finished the film. And I mean, I like Simon Kinberg. He's obviously a big fan of comic books, but I do not think he's a particularly good director. I think he showed that with X-Men Dark Phoenix, which really wasn't very good. He showed that again with Fanforstic, which really wasn't very good, which was basically directed by him. It was not, Josh Trank made it very public that it was not the movie he wanted to make. I think Josh Trank wanted more of a kind of body gore type movie, which I think would have been really fascinating. There were elements of that in there. He had such a good cast as well. You have like Miles Teller, you have, I'm blanking on all the other names, but I always blank on names, but yeah, you have a really, really good cast in there. Rooney Mara's sister, Kate Mara, was in there as well. Let me just have a look. Fantastic Four. Right. Kate Mara, Miles Teller, Michael B. Jordan, of course. How could I forget Michael B. Jordan? Jamie Bell and Toby Kebbell. That's already Tim Blake Nelson, who, of course, was in The Incredible Hulk as well. So just a really, really good cast. And it's just such a shame that they weren't able to get it right, because there was so much potential there. And, I loved Chronicle, which was Josh Trank's kind of debut film. I think that was a really, really good movie. I think that starred Dane DeHaan and Michael B. Jordan. But it's like, it's just a bit of a shame, really, that happened. But it looks like they're really kind of trying to set the record straight with Fantastic Four, getting John Watts on, who's kind of a proven director. He knows how to direct these big superhero movies. And this will be, I mean, it sounds to me as though Spider-Man 3 is pretty big, but this will be like a step up for not for him, but this will be, I think, bigger, because they really need to get Fantastic Four right. They really need to get the right cast, and I am all behind Dacre Montgomery being cast as the Human Torch. It's what I've been told. I'm really excited about it, and let me know what you guys think about this casting, this potential casting. He's in talks at the moment for the Fantastic Four, for the Human Torch. Let me know in the comments below. Right, moving on and moving back to Spider-Man 3. So Spider-Man 3, there have been some rumoured, plot leaks basically from Mikey Sutton over at Geekosity, and he's been saying that the actual heart of the movie is going to revolve around Peter Parker and MJ's relationship. So this is something that I'm actually really, really excited to hear. So Mikey Sutton, actually, if you read Geekosity, if you are part of the Facebook group, there is a Facebook group out there where he's been posting all sorts of scoops over like the last couple of months, maybe for a couple of years. I'm not sure how long he's been working in this industry for, but I think the Disney investor call or meeting or presentation, whatever you want to call it, I think that was a big moment for Geekosity, because basically almost all of their scoops were confirmed during this presentation, and it was a really, I think, a really big night for them. It was a big night for us as well, because Fantastic Four was confirmed. There were some things that we'd been alluding to, but then again, I'm not really in this for the scoop game, but it was a really fascinating night as a fan of Marvel, Pixar, and Star Wars just in general, and Disney just in general. But anyway, he's been talking about what's going to be happening. So he said, First of all, the burgeoning romance between Parker and MJ will deepen in the movie. Those expecting action from the beginning are not going to receive what they are seeking. Don't get me wrong, the last act of the film, which I will preview below, has the potential to rival Infinity War and Endgame, but anyone thinking that Kevin Feige will take his eyes off the wheel are worrying for nothing. He then said Spider-Man 3 is going to be similar to Civil War in how it balances powerful character moments with characters gradually introduced into its plot. In other words, it won't be a case of spaghetti being thrown against the wall. At the heart of it all will be Holland and Zendaya. The movie will revolve around their relationship. It's going to be tested here as she realizes how dangerous it is for her boyfriend to be Spider-Man, especially with the world knowing his true identity. The bad guys aren't coming after Parker, they're coming after her. She is his most obvious weakness. You know, this is something that has happened in previous Spider-Man films to a certain extent. For some reason, like MJ, when played by Kirsten Dunst, always ended up being in jeopardy, in danger. But this makes so much more sense because people know now that Peter Parker is Spider-Man, thanks to J. Jonah Jameson's nice little end credits scene at the end of Far From Home. So I think a lot of the film, the beginning, there might be a court case to begin with, where Peter Parker's trying to clear his name. There have been rumors that Charlie Cox is going to be coming back as Daredevil in the movie, and that he's actually going to be representing Peter Parker in court. Excuse me. That will be really, really fascinating if true. I would love to see that. There have also been rumors that Tobey Maguire and Andrew Garfield are actually going to be key in getting Peter Parker off and basically throwing suspicion away from him as being Spider-Man. And that's actually something that Geekosity, Mikey Sutton, did write about previously. And he said here, I wrote that the original cinematic Spider-Man, Tobey Maguire and Andrew Garfield, will remove Peter Parker's identity problem. He then said that seems uncertain now, as other personnel close to the matter have informed me the solution was part of an earlier draft. Doctor Strange is going to remove people's memories of Parker being Spider-Man, including MJ's, with one of his powerful spells. They added that there will be consequences that which I do not know. So, I mean, to me, this sounds as though he then goes on to say that Tobey Maguire and Andrew Garfield won't appear until the second half of the film, and that it'll be an extraordinary sequence with the trio battling their respective villains. There'll be time travel involved, as well as swinging from one universe to another. So, to me, this sounds really, really quite fascinating. If that is the script, again, he is saying that the kind of the court case thing might not be in the movie. I'm kind of hoping it will be, but again, it sounds to me as though there have been multiple versions of this script, and that certain people seem to have certain versions of it. Honestly, I think I've been thinking this the whole time. If Tobey Maguire and Andrew Garfield really are in this movie, I think it's going to be a very small sequence. I'm not even sure if they're going to be involved in an actual battle sequence at the end. I think it to me just sounds too strange. I mean, I don't want to, point any fingers here. As far as this article is concerned, I'm pretty sure that Mikey Sutton's information is solid, but I'm just thinking, this is now my time to speculate. I'm just thinking that if the Tobey Maguire and Andrew Garfield Spider-Man are in the movie, which I'm pretty sure is happening now, they wouldn't have left it so late. Marvel wouldn't have left it so late to try and get them involved. They would have had that done possibly even years ago. The minute Far From Home ended, they would have started negotiations with the pair of them, because they would have known that they're in the script. They're important parts of the script. Being involved in a final battle sequence is an important part of a script. So, as far as I'm concerned, if they're in the movie, it would almost be kind of throwaway moments that the movie could do without, that aren't like necessary for the movie to work. I think if they're to be involved in a final battle sequence, the two of them, I think that's just too much, and it's leaving too much to chance. Even though I'm pretty sure anyone would want to work for Marvel, they have been turned down in the past. Joaquin Phoenix famously turned them down for the role of Doctor Strange. That does happen. That can happen. And both actors, Tobey Maguire and Andrew Garfield, their experiences of playing Spider-Man, sorry, aren't, they aren't completely like amazing. Both of them have had bad times, especially towards the end, and they'll remember that. So I know it's a different company they're working with now. Kevin Feige's more heavily, is basically, he's doing not doing everything, but he's the one in charge now. I know Sony is still involved, but I just think it's leaving a bit too much up to chance to have them be vital parts of a final battle sequence. I really do think it's going to be a kind of brief cameo, and I was thinking that's why for me the court scene made more sense, because you could have them be kind of involved in the movie in a way that it's like there's a rip in the multiverse. They kind of come into Peter Parker's, or Tom Holland's Peter Parker's universe, help him out, and then solve some sort of problem, then go back. But then the main two players would be Peter Parker and Doctor Strange. I think that would make more sense as far as I'm concerned. But again, this is pure speculation. Let me know what you guys think about all of this in the comments below. Is this something you'd like to see? Are you excited about Spider-Man 3? Let me know your thoughts in the comments below. Right, moving on to Patty Jenkins. So Patty Jenkins is rumoured to want Gal Gadot and Chris Pine to both star in her Star Wars Rogue Squadron movie. So this was revealed again at the Disney Investors call or presentation, again, whatever you want to call it. And now we're hearing from, I believe it's Daniel Rickman that's talking about this, and he's saying that Patty Jenkins wants to bring over her two main stars from the Wonder Woman franchise. So this, to me, it doesn't sound completely mad to me that she would want those two. What I think I'd be, if I were Disney and mainly Lucasfilm, I'd actually be more worried about this, because Gal Gadot isn't cheap. Gal Gadot, you've probably heard that that she's been paid quite a lot for Wonder Woman. She's now one of the highest paid actresses, and actors, and she's very business savvy. So she will demand quite a big sum of money for this movie. Patty Jenkins probably has asked for a lot of money to make this film as well. Again, Disney, they're not. They do pay very well, obviously. They have got a lot of money. They've been doing very well, but this year hasn't been a fantastic year for them because they haven't been able to release movies in cinemas. But they're still making a lot of money, mainly thanks to Disney+. The parks have been closed for a while, so that's a big revenue stream closed for them. So they will still want to kind of be able to manage budgets. And adding somebody like Gal Gadot will add at least 10 million onto your budget. I'm just being completely honest here. That's basically her that's how much she charges to be in a movie. Because she's a big name, she's now become one of the biggest stars in the world. So rightly so, you have to pay to have her in the movie, that you have to pay a premium. And I honestly think that, yes, Patty Jenkins would probably love to have both her and Chris Pine in the film. But then again, is it necessary? I don't think so. I don't think it's necessary. But I do know that there are a lot of directors out there that love to work with the same actors over and over again. Just look at Christopher Nolan, for instance. Christopher Nolan loves to work with the likes of Sir Michael Caine, Tom Hardy. He's worked with him on multiple occasions. Cillian Murphy as well. So these actors are actors that he has kind of a core group of actors that he likes to give roles to, that he likes to work with. And Alfred Hitchcock was the same as well. He worked with actors on multiple occasions, and he worked with James Stewart quite a few times. But it's like that, there is that going on here, I think, and I'm pretty sure that Patty Jenkins probably has roles in mind for the two characters. But I think that probably Kathleen Kennedy might, I know people aren't massive fans of hers, but one thing she's able to do is manage movies quite effectively, and I think she's very good at her job. Sorry, I went a bit loud then. I'm going to be completely honest. I think she's very good as a president of Lucasfilm. I think she's also very business savvy and knows that the potential gains from having someone like Gal Gadot in the film, they probably don't match the amount of money they would need to bring her into the movie. Chris Pine might be different. Chris Pine probably isn't as expensive, but he's also not the big. He's a name. He's a big name, but he's not a Wonder Woman name. This is something Gal Gadot's just signed on to do. Heart of Stone, I believe it's called, which has now made her, if not one of the highest paid actors in Hollywood. She's something she's been very good at in the last couple of years, negotiating very good contracts. She's obviously got a very good team behind her and a very good agent, but also she is also very business savvy. So those are just my thoughts about this news. I'm going to be honest with you. I don't think they're going to be in the film. I don't think either of them are going to be in the movie. But it's not saying that conversations aren't going on behind the scenes between Patty Jenkins, Gal Gadot, Chris Pine, and Lucasfilm and Disney. I'm pretty sure they're happening, but I just don't think it'll end up happening. I don't think it'll come to fruition. But let me know what you guys think in the comments below. Right, moving on to Netflix. Netflix are rumored to be working on an Umbrella Academy movie. So this again comes from Daniel Rickman. He's been very busy. So this is something that I was very surprised by as well. Tonight seems to be me kind of going against a lot of these stories, but it doesn't mean that they're not true. Things happen all the time in Hollywood. People are talking about things all the time. They're working on different projects all the time. They don't always happen. But as far as the Umbrella Academy movie is concerned, I would be quite surprised if this were to be the case, because there are plans. I know there are plans to make 4 seasons. So they're making season 3 now. That I know that they've already written scripts for season 4. This is one of their biggest shows. You can't just think about the United States and the UK, the kind of English-speaking world. You've also got to think about the huge market that's outside of that. And outside of that, the Umbrella Academy is huge. It's really big, like worldwide. Surprisingly so. It's a bit like Money Heist in that sense. It's not quite as big. It's not nowhere near the numbers that Money Heist does, but it's almost there. And the idea was to make 4 seasons. And I still think they're going to do that. But then on the other hand, the idea of them making a movie kind of does make sense, because it's like, well, we've now seen that a lot of these actors involved in the Umbrella Academy are now becoming more and more famous. Of course, Elliot Page is the big name in there, but you got Tom Hopper in there as well. Aidan Gallagher's becoming more and more famous. Robert Sheehan's becoming more and more famous. Emmy Raver Lampman as well is becoming more and more famous, mainly thanks to the show. So getting them together schedule-wise might be quite difficult. So in that sense, making a movie might make more sense, because it requires a bit less time, a bit less effort. You don't have to direct multiple episodes of it. You just have to direct the movie. So that might mean that they could end up spending, let's say 2 to 3 months shooting, maybe even a bit less, and as opposed to like what it would take to film a series, which could take up to like 6 months sometimes. So in that sense, that there is like logic behind it. So maybe that might happen, but it's something they haven't done before. But then again, this COVID-19 pandemic might have thrown people through a loop, especially at Netflix, and they might be thinking, well, how can we just get this out as quickly as possible? The quickest way to get it out might be to make a movie. But let me know what you guys think about that in the comments below. Right, moving on to the petition to have Amber Heard fired from Aquaman 2. Well, it's almost reached 2 million signatures, which is pretty massive. So as we speak, I think when I saw it, it was just coming out to 1.8 million, which makes it, if not one of the most signed petitions in history on change.org. So let me just wait for it to come up. So it kind of takes a while for the numbers. So I think it's 1.7, almost 1.75. So it's getting there, and I'm pretty sure by Christmas it will have surpassed 2 million. This kind of goes against like Amber Heard's recent comments that this is all just paid online campaign. That it's just too many signatures for that. It would take too much money, really. I think there's a lot. There might be some bots involved in that, but I think the large proportion of it are genuine, human beings behind it, not bots. And I think I'd be surprised, even though it's been said that Warner Brothers isn't taking this seriously, I'd be surprised that if they don't start really looking at this. The minute it hits 2 million, I think they might start thinking, well, this is a problem now, because it can't possibly just be all bots, because that would just require way too much money for it to be someone, linked to Johnny Depp. I just think that would be pure madness if that's the case. So I'm pretty sure they're genuine. I'm pretty sure that Warner Brothers is starting to take notice about it. But then again, I'm not someone that really wants to advocate someone losing their job over something that hasn't actually been decided yet in a court of law. I don't think either of them should lose their jobs. I don't think Johnny Depp should have lost his job for Fantastic Beasts. And I don't think Amber Heard, as of yet, should lose her job for Aquaman 2, because they actually haven't been convicted. A lot of people are kind of wanting to throw Johnny Depp off the bus because they say, he lost his libel case. Well, yeah, it's a libel case. It wasn't a criminal case. So let's just wait and see what happens. I know there are lots of people out there. There are lots of people that read the site that are really, very, very pro Johnny Depp, and I get that. But let's just wait and see what happens. And this story's rolling on. It's been going on for months now. But yeah, it looks like by Christmas, I'm pretty sure the petition will reach 2 million. Let me know what you guys think of all that in the comments below. Right, moving on. I'm moving away from movie news and onto some TV stuff. So there's this upcoming Marvel series, which again was announced at the Disney Investor Call the other day. And it's called Armor Wars. And it's going to feature Don Cheadle as War Machine. It's rumored this will be his last time playing the role, which will be sad, but he gets his own series, which is nice. And it's now being rumored that Sam Rockwell's Justin Hammer will be returning for the show. So if you remember correctly, he was in Iron Man 2. He was kind of the one that went up against Tony Stark, but he's not really, he's a villain, but in a kind of stupid way. He kind of gets double-crossed and he doesn't really know what's going on. He's depicted in the film as being a bit all over the place and just kind of more in awe of Tony Stark than anything else. He just wants to be the next Tony Stark. He doesn't really want to become a villain, which kind of makes sense. It's more kind of Ivan, who's Mickey Rourke's character, that's behind it all. But basically, this was a while back in 2019. This is during a Reddit Q&A. So Kevin Feige was asked whether he'd be interested in bringing back forgotten characters such as Justin Hammer, and Feige replied, "I'm not sure I'd call them forgotten characters, but I'd love bringing back characters people think they've seen the last of. For example, General Ross and Harley Keener from Iron Man 3." So yeah, and then Sam Rockwell did another kind of Ask Me Anything Q&A session on Reddit, and he said he'd be happy to do it. He's just waiting on the Avengers to give him a call. So to me, it just makes so much sense to have Justin Hammer in the film, mainly because of the fact that it's a lot of it is about Tony Stark's tech falling into the wrong hands. I don't believe the wrong hands would be Justin Hammer, at least the way Sam Rockwell portrayed him in the movie. I actually think that Justin Hammer cares about in the MCU is kind of being seen as being on the same level as Tony Stark. So there's kind of he's just ambitious, but he's not quite as clever as Tony Stark was. So I think he might end up actually helping War Machine in the film. But let me know what you guys think about that in the comments below. Right, moving on to Tim Roth. So it was also revealed that Tim Roth is going to be returning as the Abomination in She-Hulk. Talking there, Kevin Feige liking to bring back characters, supposedly forgotten characters, but he didn't like that term. So Tim Roth actually opened up, of sorts, about returning as the Abomination in the She-Hulk series, it's been announced for a while, but kind of officially announced by Kevin Feige. And he took to Instagram and he said, also, charm offensive incoming. And he put a lovely picture of him as Abomination, which he played in The Incredible Hulk, which, if you remember, that was the movie that starred Edward Norton as Dr. Bruce Banner. And he was then replaced by Mark Ruffalo. So the fact they're bringing him back, I think, is really fascinating. He's a villain that is very, very prominent in the comics. He's like the Hulk's kind of main antagonist, let's say, and he's not been involved in the MCU ever since that pretty average, let's say, Incredible Hulk movie. I didn't think it was great. It's fine. It's one of my least favorite MCU movies, and maybe I did like Edward Norton's take on Bruce Banner, but I really think he's kind of been overshadowed now by Mark Ruffalo, who I think is just perfect in the role. So Mark Ruffalo, I believe it was announced that he's also going to be in the She-Hulk series, and Kevin Feige also kind of teased other characters, Marvel characters coming into it, and it's since been talked about that Charlie Cox's Daredevil is going to be in that series as well. Those are rumors, but I think Kevin Feige was really, really hinting strongly at that being the case. So what do you think about this? Are you excited to see the Abomination back? Are you excited to see Tim Roth back in the Marvel Cinematic Universe? I really love Tim Roth. I think he's a brilliant actor, and I really can't wait to see him play that role again and hopefully do it like real justice in this She-Hulk series. Is he going to be the main villain? I don't know. I'm not sure, but I think he might be a good one. Let me know what you guys think in the comments below. Right, final story, and this is not a good one. It's been rumoured, but basically this has happened, that Henry Cavill has injured himself, and filming on The Witcher Season 2 has been paused. So this was reported in the Toronto Sun, and they said that he was doing an assault course and hurt his leg. So it sounds as though he was doing something not related to The Witcher Season 2, to filming that. So I've seen some outlets claiming that he was injured on set, but I don't think he was. And anyway, he was then trying to do scenes, and apparently he was seen in a lot of pain. It's not sure whether it's like a muscle injury or actually something worse. So he seemed to be struggling with some of the scenes he has to shoot, and of course, one of the big draws of The Witcher is the fact that they've cast Henry Cavill, who is very, very good at doing these sorts of action sequences, and also ever since starring in Mission Impossible Fallout alongside Tom Cruise, is very much an advocate of doing his own stunts, which is great. But then it means that if he's injured, he can't do them, and they can't really get someone else in to do those scenes for him. He's a big guy, and it'd be quite difficult to get someone his size. But it seems as though it's been paused now. Netflix has been forced to pause production. To be honest, The Witcher Season 2 has been shooting for a while now, and they were kind of not they went into lockdown in the UK, but they kind of went back out of it pretty quickly. And then we're getting things going again, and then members of the crew, I believe, were tested positive for COVID-19, so they had to put it on pause again. So it's very much been a stop-start production. But hopefully, fingers crossed, this isn't a very serious injury. Apparently, according to sources close to the production, they said that Henry Cavill can't walk properly. So that is an issue, especially if he's going to be doing those really well choreographed fight scenes. One of the reasons I love The Witcher so much, even though I think the first series is a bit of a mess, I still think it's well worth watching, mainly because of the really well choreographed fight scenes in The Witcher Season 1, and also I think Henry Cavill's just brilliant in it. But let me know what you think about this. Are you worried about The Witcher Season 2 now? I think it's going to be fine. I think you just got to wait for him to heal up, and then they'll get back into production pretty swiftly. But let me know what you guys think in the comments below. Right, and with that, that's all I have for you guys tonight. Thank you so much for watching and listening. If you want to listen to this as a podcast, you can. It's at Small Screen Stories, wherever you get your podcasts. If you're listening on Apple Podcasts, please give us a 5-star rating. That'd be wonderful if you could do that. If you can like and subscribe on YouTube, that'd be really, really good. That would help me out so much. If you can also, if you're watching on Facebook, I know some of you are. If you're watching on Facebook, you can like the video, share the video, follow, like the page. That would really, really be great. Read the articles. Go on to www.small-screen.co.uk and read the articles over there. And if you also want to follow us anywhere on social media, you can. That's at Small Screen Co. And that's at Facebook, Instagram, Twitter. Again, Small Screen Co. Now we've changed handle recently. And you can follow me at EJ Lauder on Twitter. Also, if you want to write for the site, you can. You can email me at hello@small-screen.co.uk with your pitches. We do pay our writers, and I've said this time and time again, Small Screen is a place where I just want people to write about pop culture, to write about stuff they love, and I've had loads of pitches, some great writers out there, and I really, really want to thank all of them for their hard work. Thank you so much for watching and listening, and I'll see you guys in the next one. Cheers and goodbye.